Welcome back to another episode of the Kings related podcast, wherever you may be. And this recap of the Kings 116 114 victory on this Monday evening against the Minnesota Timberwolves. This was a hell of a win for the Kings. Needing a win to avoid a disastrous road trip. The Sacramento Kings walked in to Minnesota, shut out all the noise that has been going on for the last week or two with all the trade rumors surrounding the former teammate De'Aaron Fox, and they came away with an improbable win on the road. The second time they beat Minnesota on their home court, which is huge. We'll get, by the way, and we'll get into that here in a little bit, but this was a great win as the Kings finished this long ass road trip, 6 games, at 2-4. They're now back to 1 game over 500 at 25-24 in a crowded Western Conference play-in. They're in the West. It's just absolutely crazy of that playing there in the West. But the Sacramento Kings, they came out firing in the first as they led Minnesota 38-34. Keegan Murray was incredible in that first quarter. He had 17 points. He was 6 of 8 shooting in that first. DeMar DeRozan had 9, and they pushed that pace early to start this game. Keegan Murray in that second quarter did not score a bucket in that second quarter. He finished the first half with the same amount that he had in the first quarter, 17 points. And he finished the game with 19 points. So he just had 2 points in that second half. Finished 7 of 11 from the field. He was 2 of 4 from 3 in this game. And it's 39 minutes of action. 3 of 4 from the free throw line. So I would love to see Keegan be a little more aggressive here. Now that you don't have De'Aaron Fox, I want to see Keegan look for his shot more. Because what he did there in that first quarter was really good to see from Keegan Murray. So DeMar DeRozan has been everything during his 16 17 years in the NBA, and now he'll be reunited with his former teammate that he spent the last couple of seasons with in Chicago, and Zach LaVine, who will make his debut for the Kings on Wednesday night here in Sacramento. So DeMar DeRozan was absolutely incredible in this game. 33 points. He was 14 of 25 from the field, 3 of 4 from the free throw line, 56% shooting from the field, 50% from the 3. Just absolutely incredible by DeMar DeRozan. 5 rebounds, 7 assists. And there was no question, now that De'Aaron Fox is in San Antonio, the guy down the stretch in clutch time is DeMar DeRozan. And you might have a little help too with Malik Monk down the stretch too with here for the rest of the season. So DeMar DeRozan simply incredible in this game for the Kings. What he did tonight down the stretch in clutch time. And speaking of another guy who could be that clutch player here as we go into this second half of the season, Malik Monk. It is the Malik Monk show, and this wasn't the plan when Monk joined De'Aaron Fox when he joined the Kings, but moving forward, this is Malik Monk's team. And it wasn't always pretty in this game, but Malik Monk managed 26 points, 5 assists, 8 rebounds for Monk. So, and the thing about Malik Monk now, in those clutch time minutes in the fourth quarter, Malik's gonna have the best defender of the opposing team most likely on him. So we'll see how he can adjust to that, and he'll have a little help come this Wednesday when Zach LaVine joins the team for his debut. With De'Aaron Fox now gone, Zach LaVine, who is on his way to Sacramento, there were shots to be had in this game. Keegan Murray stepped up early, as I mentioned, 17 points in that first quarter. Did not score in the second. He had 2 points in the second half, where he finished with 19 points. He was aggressive with his shot in the first, and I thought he got away from that. I want to see Keegan Murray look for his shot more, because an aggressive Keegan Murray is a good, really good Keegan Murray in this game, in games for the Sacramento Kings going forward. Domantas Sabonis, my opinion, I don't think this was a great night for Domantas Sabonis. He was in foul trouble most of this game. He took until the Domantas Sabonis took until the early second quarter to score his first bucket of the game. He finished with 14 points, 11 rebounds, and three assists in this game. Just looking at the box score here, but it wasn't a great night for Sabonis. And hey, Minnesota, they defensively went after Domantas Sabonis, and for the Kings, it was good to see other guys step up. And going into this game with, now you got Keon Ellis starting, Malik Monk, and then DeRozan, Keegan, and Sabonis. I was looking forward to seeing what you were going to get from this bench, and I thought the bench stepped up well tonight for the Kings. You know, when we talk about the bench, people want to immediately look at the scoring, but I thought other things. I thought the guys like Devin Carter, Trey Lyles, I thought Isaac Jones, I thought they stepped up. I thought, even though they didn't score much, Trey Lyles, 8 rebounds in this game. Devin Carter, 5 rebounds in this game. Trey Lyles also had 2 blocks, 2 steals in this game as well. I thought, it's not all about scoring. You would love to see them score a little bit more, but it's they find other ways to be productive coming in off the bench. And speaking of off the bench, Keon Ellis, who got the start tonight. I thought Keon Ellis played well. He picked up his this was trying to think his sixth or seventh start for the Kings this season, and it probably won't last because we'll see who starts on Wednesday. Either it'll be Keon Ellis or Zach LaVine, so we'll see who starts there on Wednesday night. But per usual, Keon Ellis was a menace on the defensive end. Ellis Island is a thing, and it was against the Ant-Man, Anthony Edwards, and he hit his open shots. But Anthony Edwards in this game, he finished with 13 points. Yeah, 13 points as the box score says, and he was 5 for 8 shooting. To go with 3 steals. So Keon Ellis, just an absolute menace on the defensive end and guarding one of the best players in the league, Anthony Edwards, who's also a really good defender in his own right. So, and Trey Lyles battled in this game off the bench. Wasn't a Trey day that we accustomed seeing, but Trey Lyles was very impactful as a defender for the Kings off the bench, and that's what you needed. Don't worry about you might want you want maybe to see a little more scoring, but what ways can you be helpful in other ways? And Trey Lyles found other ways to be impactful for this Kings team, and he kept the body on that jackass Rudy Gobert, who finished with 5 points and 8 rebounds in this game. So really nice job by Trey Lyles in this game. The Kings, 10 turnovers in this game. And also, I also wanted to see how would the Kings respond in the rebounding battle after Oklahoma City absolutely destroyed the Kings in that margin on Saturday night. The Kings out-rebounded Minnesota in this game 47-36 in this game. I thought the Kings did a much better job on the boards in this game compared to Saturday night where they got their ass kicked against Oklahoma City. So really nice job by the Kings. And Minnesota, they're a team that loves to shoot the 3 ball. I believe they get up at least 40 threes a game. The Kings in this game held Minnesota to 30% from the 3 line. Kings outshot the Timberwolves 41.7%. And you got a new guy coming to town in Zach LaVine, who's been absolutely brilliant this season. He's having one of his best seasons of his career this year, and he's going to really help in the 3-point shooting. And in an area where the Kings have massively struggled this season at shooting the 3 ball. So we'll see if Zach LaVine can rub off on these other players to finally hit their threes. Free throws, Kings 80% from the free throw line, but all around this was a hell of a win for the Sacramento Kings as they end their 6 game road trip 2-4, back to one game over 500. And this was a massive win because now your season series with Minnesota, you're done playing them for the season, and the season series is tied at 2-2, which could matter because if you look at the Western Conference standings, Minnesota's in that 7th spot, and the Kings 25-24, one game. They're a they're a half game behind Dallas, who are in that 9th spot. Phoenix, who's 25-23. Minnesota, who have now lost back-to-back games, they're 27-23. Like this is going to come down to the final games of the regular season. Like this is not going to change. So this was a massive win for the Kings in this game. So, and I just want to look at Minnesota. Naz Reid was absolutely on a heater in the first quarter. He finished the game for Minnesota with 30 points. He was 5 of 9 from 3. I've always liked Naz Reid. Just an incredible player. He got his second start of the season for Minnesota in this game. Julius Randle was out for Minnesota. A quiet night for Mike Conley. He did hit a big 3 late in that fourth quarter, but it did not matter. But Minnesota off their bench, not a lot of scoring for Minnesota off the bench. So Kings, they come home after this long ass road trip, and this was a great win. And you're taking on an Orlando team coming up on Wednesday, who have an Orlando team that's hard to figure out because Orlando's lost eight of the last 9 games. Orlando's battled injuries this year with like Franz Wagner, Paolo Banchero, but Paolo's back, and it's been a rough season to try to figure out the Orlando Magic. And then after Wednesday, you come home for one game, you're back on the road. Thursday, up in Portland against the Portland Trailblazers on a second half of back-to-back. And then you come back home for a couple games against New Orleans on Saturday. And then you got the new look. No, you're back on the road in Dallas against the new look Mavericks team who just traded away with Luka Doncic, the most shocking trade in NBA history. And then you got a back-to-back against the Pelicans in New Orleans to wrap before the All-Star break. So the Kings got an opportunity here to get some wins here. And we got first look at Zach LaVine on this next game on Wednesday, as he will make his debut for the Sacramento Kings. And be good to see Zach in a Kings uniform, because the last time the Kings saw Zach LaVine, he almost beat the Kings as a member of the Bulls when the Kings were in Chicago a couple weeks ago, I believe that was. So Kings defeat the Minnesota Timberwolves 116-114. They're now 25-24 on the season. Finished the road trip at 2-4. And now we'll just look at a couple of some of the scores around the NBA on this Monday night. It was a 10-game slate. You have the Washington Wizards getting back-to-back wins on the road as they beat the Hornets 1-10. The Oklahoma City Thunder, absolutely incredible. They beat the Milwaukee Bucks big time in that game. The Denver Nuggets, they beat the New Orleans Pelicans in the Mile High City. The Memphis Grizzlies, they defeat the San Antonio Spurs handily, 128-109. The game of the night was in New York, where you had the Knicks beating the Houston Rockets, 124-118. And I'll say this, if the New York Knicks can add a piece or two, I believe the New York Knicks could be the second best team in the Eastern Conference. That is a damn good Knicks team. I think this Knicks team is better than they were last season. Just incredible with how they played this season. You got the Atlanta Hawks. They beat the Detroit Pistons by 2, and a couple games still in progress. You got Golden State and Orlando in the third quarter just underway. And then you got Phoenix looking to get a little revenge against Portland. Phoenix lost against Portland the other night. They're looking to bounce back after they lost. They are leading the Blazers in that third quarter. And then you got the Indiana Pacers right now leading in the final minutes of the fourth quarter over the Utah Jazz. But Kings win by 2 over Minnesota. Now they come back home after the 6-game road trip for the debut of Zach LaVine on Wednesday against the Orlando Magic. And we'll be back for that recap Wednesday night following that game. And if you're watching on YouTube, please hit that subscribe button, hit that thumbs up, leave a comment down below. And if you're listening on your preferred audio platform, Apple, Spotify, please hit that follow button, rate 5 stars, leave a nice little review, be much appreciated. And we are available wherever you get your favorite podcasts. Thanks for tuning in to this episode of our Kings Related podcast. And we'll see you Wednesday night following Kings Magic. Hopefully another win. Thanks for tuning in. Go Kings and light the beam.